24 hours a day, 7 days per week, with a fresh approach. www.999wefm.com. WeFM News, online, on demand.
Good afternoon and welcome to WEFM's Midday News, brought to you with the kind compliments of Court St. Vincent Limited.
Ready, cash again!
Experience the party, experience the vibes, experience the road. This carnival season, get the full experience with Ready Cash and pay nothing for 60 days. Take a loan of 3,000 and more for Carnival 2024 and make your first payment after Carnival. Plus, you get to enter and win your loan back. All you need is your ID, proof of address, job letter, payslip, and 2 references. Visit your nearest Courts or Ready Cash location today. Experience Carnival 2024 with Courts Ready Cash. Ready when you are.
Ready, cash again!
Welcome back to WeFM's Midday News, brought to you with the kind compliments of Court St. Vincent Limited. I am your presenter, Rajiv Providence. First, on the local scene, police here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines are investigating the disappearance of the vessel MV Guidance 2. Its last known position was in the Canouan Island Harbor on July 1st, the day that Hurricane Beryl made landfall in the area. Local authorities share that Maxwell Burke of Canouan is the captain of the 150-foot vessel with a white superstructure and a crew of 5. It is believed that the vessel's communication and GPS systems are likely damaged, as the last known position indicates the ship was adrift many miles. There have been some unsubstantiated claims that the vessel and its crew were found, but these rumors appear to be false, an official statement indicated. The police are appealing to the public for any information that would lead to the safe recovery of the vessel and its crew to contact the police emergency at 999 or 911 or the SVG Coast Guard service at 784-457-4578. Legendary soca artist Marshall Montano and Vincentian soca star Gamal Doyle, better known as Skinny Fabulous, have made monetary donations toward hurricane relief efforts in St. Vincent and the Grenadines following the passage of Hurricane Beryl. Both soca artists made separate donations of US $20,000 each to the National Emergency Management Organization NEMO to assist persons affected by Hurricane Beryl. Their act of kindness did not go unnoticed as Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves thanked Marshall Montano and Skinny Fabulous for their generosity. Prime Minister Gonsalves notes the donations will go toward the National Disaster Relief Fund. Dr. Gonsalves says this is part of the linkages they need to have between cultural artists and the national emergency that SVG has currently. Still on the local scene, the General Employees Cooperative Credit Union Limited GECU has named Mrs. Maxine Richards-Johnny as its new Chief Executive Officer effective June 13, 2024. The announcement follows a thorough recruitment process assisted by local human resource consultants MAHR Solutions and Joachim and Associates, which evaluated candidates from local, regional, and international backgrounds. According to an official release from GECU, Mrs. Richards-Johnny brings over 2 decades of experience to her new role, having initially joined GECU in November 2002 as an accountant. Her tenure has been marked by significant contributions to the credit union's growth and development. She holds a master's degree in finance and investment from the London School of Business and Finance and is a fellow of the Association of Certified Chartered Accountants FCCA. The appointment of Mrs. Richards-Johnny is expected to further strengthen GECU's position in the financial services sector, enhancing its commitment to members and community welfare. On to news in the region. The severe devastation suffered in Carriacou and Petite Martinique due to the passage of Hurricane Beryl has raised the issue of adherence to building codes in Grenada after many houses were flattened. Grenada's Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell says this disaster will have a major impact on the economy as the Tri-Island state has suffered hundreds of millions of dollars in losses and it will take hundreds of millions of dollars to rebuild. He says the rebuilding process must have resilience factored into it. We hear more from Prime Minister Mitchell.
Our building standards and our building codes need to be improved, and they need to be adhered to, and they need to be enforced. Insurance companies do not insure wooden buildings. And so, in effect, we are facing a situation where large parts of our domestic housing stock is uninsured, and we run the risk of putting our housing stock in a position where every time we have a storm or hurricane or some other climatic event, that our citizens will not be able to rebuild. And it will fall to the government and to the taxpayers to be able to assist them in that regard. And so as we begin to think of how we recover and rebuild, we are going to have to become a lot more creative. We are going to have to rely on technology. We are going to have to rely on modular housing. And we are going to have to ensure that, particularly when it comes to roofs, that the codes and the standards are improved and that they're adhered to.
That was the Prime Minister of Grenada, Dickon Mitchell. Grenada's Prime Minister said that most of the devastation seen as a result of the passage of Beryl on the island was due to the poor or substandard construction of many buildings. A Guyanese woman was arrested by police after she attempted to kill her 9-year-old daughter and herself following a breakup with her boyfriend. According to Loop News, the boyfriend had expressed his intention to end the relationship, causing the woman to call her daughter and falsely claim her father was dead and they were unwanted by their stepfather. She then injured her daughter with a quote-unquote chopper, but the child managed to escape and was rescued by a neighbor who took her to a hospital. The daughter's condition was stable and she was transferred to another hospital for further care. The woman also injured herself and was treated before being arrested and taken to a police station for questioning. On the international scene, Canada faces increasing pressure from NATO allies to boost its military spending as it currently falls short of NATO's target of 2% of GDP spent on defense. Despite ranking 7th in spending among NATO members, Canada allocates only 1.34% of its GDP to its military, placing it ahead of only a few other allies. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's attendance at the NATO summit in Washington, D.C. this week underscores concerns that Canada is becoming an outlier within the alliance. Despite promises to increase defense spending to nearly 50 billion Canadian dollars by 2030, which would equate to 1.76% of GDP, Canada is expected to continue trailing its allies in military expenditure in the coming years. Canada's Defense Minister Bill Blair said at the Foreign Policy Security Forum on Monday that the country will soon share a credible, verifiable plan to boost its military spending. Finally, in sports, Novak Djokovic is through to the semifinals of the Wimbledon after Alex de Minaur withdrew from their last 8 tie because of a hip injury. The Australian 9th seed was scheduled to take on 24-time Grand Slam champion Djokovic in Wednesday's second match on center court. Djokovic, 37, is handed a walkover and will face either Italy's Lorenzo Musetti or American 13th seed Taylor Fritz in the semifinals. This withdrawal helps Djokovic in his bid to win an 8th title at the Wimbledon and move level with Roger Federer. He has now moved into a 13th Wimbledon semifinal, a joint open era record with Federer. Djokovic has looked in excellent form at SW19, despite undergoing knee surgery just 3 weeks before the grass court Grand Slam. This has been WEFM's Midday News. I have been your presenter, Rajiv Providence. Join us again at 3 o'clock for WEFM's 3 p.m. news. WEFM's Midday News is brought to you with the kind compliments of Quartz St. Vincent Limited.
At Quartz Optical, 2 are better than 1. Be always ready for the occasions with a second pair of eyewear. Find your fit with a pair. Get 50% off on all men's frames and sunglasses. plus 30% off all other purchases. Ray-Ban, Armani, Converse, Vogue, and much more. Get that frame today. Shop with no cash and pay later. Plus, you can book your eye examination appointment online today on www.quartzoptical.com. Only at Quartz Optical. Value you can see.
It's back. Yes, the Instacash game bingo is back. You asked for it, and the NLE is giving it to you. Bingo, where there's a chance to win up to $6,000. There's also the new Instacash game, Hot Numbers, with 5 chances where you can win up to $8,000. Get your bingo and Hot Numbers